Welcome to another episode of Erik Wait Whiskey Studies, and this is part of a series in which I am sharing my trip to the UK, in which I spent 2 days in London and 2 weeks traveling around Scotland, visiting distilleries, meeting up with fellow whiskey tubers, and I spent 2 days studying at the Edinburgh Whiskey Academy. So after visiting Abelard Distillery, I went to sort of a sister distillery because it's owned also by Pernod Ricard. I went to the Glenlivet Distillery. Now, I really enjoyed the tour. Sometimes, what you really like about the tour is obviously the whiskeys. Sometimes because you get to see a unique feature, and sometimes it's because of the hospitality and professionalism of your tour guide. And I wish I remembered his name, but the tour guide I had at Glenlivet Distillery was absolutely fantastic. He was he'd been working in the industry for quite some time, and he was one of many from his family, in terms of several generations, are working in distilleries. When somebody sort of grows up in the whiskey business, it's as if they sort of have it in their blood. And the passion for whiskey and the knowledge that they had of whiskey really showed. There are some other people, they might be 18, 19 years old, and they have memorized a script, and essentially what you're getting presented with is a script. And so if you ask questions, they're not going to be able to answer your questions all that well, or they may even have some things wrong, because while they may have memorized a script, they really don't understand the concepts behind the production of whiskey. But the tour guide I had at Glenlivet Distillery was absolutely fantastic. Really liked him. So the whiskey I'm going to be reviewing from Glenlivet is the Glenlivet Na Peated Whiskey. This is bottled at cask strength at 61.5% alcohol by volume. But before getting into this, here is my tour of the distillery. This is Erik Wait, and I'm at the Glenlivet Distillery. So the distillery was founded in 1824 by George Smith. And this is a story you're going to hear over and over and over again, whether you're reading about Glenlivet or as soon as you check out the website or you do a tour. But the Glenlivet area had a multitude of illicit stills. And George Smith claimed the name Glenlivet to be the Glenlivet and became the first legal distillery. And apparently some of his neighbors didn't particularly care for that. And he actually had to defend himself and his distillery with arms. That's the story behind Glenlivet Distillery. So we got to taste a number of different whiskeys after doing the tour in a really, really nice, comfortable tasting room. First, we tasted the Founder's Reserve, which is a non-age statement and sort of the leader in the sort of non-age statement movement in whiskeys. We had the 12-year-old. We had another one that was finished in cognac cask. We had a 15-year-old, an 18-year-old, and one that is called an Archive 21-year-old. Now, these were all really, really good whiskeys. I really, really liked them. However, the whiskey that I really, really liked when I was over in Scotland from Glenlivet was actually one we didn't taste at the distillery, but I tasted at a whiskey bar at the Castle Hotel in Huntley. That is the Glenlivet Na Peated Whiskey Cask Finish. Nadura is a Gaelic word that means natural. The whiskey is matured in first fill ex-bourbon casks before a finishing period in casks that previously held heavily peated Scotch whiskey. It is non-chill filtered, cask strength, and bottled at 61.5% alcohol by volume and retails for about $75 in the United States. Now, they had it for sale at the distillery for 55 pounds, but since it is widely distributed, I checked, and sure enough, I was able to get one back home for about $80. 55 pounds, $80. Actually, it was, $75 here in the Bay Area. So $55 at the exchange rate and so forth. It breaks about even at the time, 55 pounds versus $75, and I wouldn't have to carry it home. So one of the first things I did as soon as I got home is I got a bottle of this because I really, really, really like this. So it's aged in a first fill bourbon cask and then finished in a cask that previously had a peated whiskey. Now, they don't state where the cask came from that previously had whiskey, peated whiskey in it. To me, it actually tastes a little bit like an Islay whiskey, not an Islay peat, but who knows? Because it doesn't seem like a Highland peat, but I could be completely wrong on that. All right, let's take a little gander at it. It is really shiny and golden, clear in color on the nose. I get tropical notes. I get a little bit of pineapple, some citrus. I get sort of a blend of lemon, lime, and orange. And what I really like, and this is the way I like peated whiskeys. Some peated whiskeys, you get a big hit in the face of smoke, and you have to kind of dig through to get through to any other aromas and flavors. I like peated whiskey in which the peat and the smoke is interwoven with all the fruit, spice, and other characteristics. I get just a hint of a salty sea breeze. It even has an oceanic character to it, although Glenlivet Distillery is nowhere near the ocean. So again, that's probably coming from the peat casks. That's a guess, don't know. I get mild notes of chocolate, some vanilla, baking spices, and a little bit of earthiness as well, almost like a clay mud type character. All right, on the palate. I love this whiskey. So on the palate, the nose is confirmed. Lemon, lime, and orange. And a tropical note, some pineapple. Interwoven with it is chocolate and smoke with a little bit of saltiness. And on the back end, I get the vanilla and baking spices. I really, really like this whiskey. As you can see, I've gotten down below the shoulder. This whiskey does really, really, really well on ice or with just a little bit of water. You know, bottled at 61.5% alcohol by volume. Putting it on ice, I like that it drops the temperature and really it doesn't have any impact on the flavor. And it's a more of a refreshing and delicious whiskey. This, for me, the whole thing about buying cask strength whiskeys is that I can put them on ice and reduce ABV a little bit, but get them to the temperature in which I like them. This is an absolutely fantastic whiskey, and for only $75 in the United States, it's an absolute steal. A really high quality price ratio. To me, this seems like a combination between a classic Glenlivet and an Ardbeg, and you know how much I love Ardbeg if you've been following me for a while. What I'm going to give this in terms of a score, I'm going to go a solid 92 points. 92 points, and I'm almost ready to go higher because of the quality price ratio. To get a comparable whiskey of this quality and of this complexity, layers and flavor and development, and if you're a peat lover, you're probably going to go over $100. You're probably going to go over $100. However, it would be in stiff competition with, you know, Ardbeg 10 or an Ardbeg Corvrecken or even an Ugadal. You know, those are under $100 as well. So they'd be, you know, stiff competition with those, but still, this is still an absolutely fantastic whiskey, and I highly, highly recommend it. Alrighty, if you subscribe to this channel, well, thank you very much. If you haven't yet subscribed, but you like watching my videos, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and other social networking channels. And until next time, cheers. Hey, if you like my review, be sure to check out these other whiskey videos. Maybe you saw change.